Set. You. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Darius Schonford. I am Chair of Finance Committee for the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency, and I call this meeting to order. Wednesday, November 12th at 12:13. All right. We have 4 members of the board here today and a quorum for Finance Committee meeting. Joined by Lee Eck, Anthony Gaddy, John Maxwell, and myself. The first order of business, as always, is a call for a motion to waive the reading of minutes and accept them as presented. No. Great. Anybody have any changes, additions, deletions? Hearing none. All those in favor? On to the officer. Okay, or their unfinished business, but we do have new business. Harmony Mills LLC.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm going to give a brief overview of the history of the project and the request at hand. I will note that we have a representative of the project team here with us, Nadine Shadlock, who could answer any detailed questions that I'm unable to. So as a refresher, the Harmony Mills South LLC project involves the building at 90 State Street. The project was approved for IDA assistance and closed on IDA assistance in 2019. And the project consisted of the conversion of, I believe, the upper 11 or so floors into approximately 160 apartments. The reason for that was the conversion of underutilized office space. So at the time, the project was expected to be about a $23 million investment. The project did encounter a handful of unexpected cost overruns that are unfortunately typical with some of the much older buildings we have here downtown. And that investment kind of ballooned up to about $32 million. Right now, the request at hand in front of the committee is it's kind of a 3-pronged request. The first is for additional mortgage recording tax exemption. That would be $81,000 on an approximately $8.1 million mortgage. That would be considered new assistance. Of note, it is under the $100,000 threshold that this agency would use to require a public hearing. The second is in conjunction with the plans fitting out of ground floor commercial space and some interior tenant amenity space would be the extension of the sales tax exemption certificate through 2027. And additionally, the ability because of that to then realize approximately $232,000 in sales tax exemptions that have not yet been taken by the project applicant. So those exemptions were previously contemplated by the agency during their original approval of the project, so they are not considered new assistance. And the third prong, and I'm going to rely on both Chris and Nadine here, is seeking the agency's consent to mortgage. I believe there's some, not in fact, but some maneuverings of the structure of the ownership.
Yeah.
And I'll turn it over to you guys to speak more accurately to that.
You want to start?
Yeah, we'll give it a start, yes. The financing is actually, I feel like I'm very far from you. Is this okay down here?
Yeah.
Okay. The financing is actually a conversion from construction lending, which is still out there, to a perm financing. And it's a securitized loan. And because it's a securitized loan, they require that the property be conveyed to a bankruptcy remote entity, a Delaware entity, which will be a disregarded entity. Harmony Mills South will be the sole owner of Harmony Mills South, Delaware. And the lender requires that to be able to, complete the financing that they're suggesting.
Yeah, and I think we would do an assignment and assumption agreement with respect to the ownership of the.
Exactly.
We typically do that in this situation, so it's just a document that we would prepare and enter to with the IDA and the previous owner and the new owner.
Right, exactly. It's just an assignment of the very generous IDA benefits that have been awarded to the project over the years. And the support overall, we can't express how much everyone has appreciated it. But the project is what it is today because of this organization, in my opinion, and in my client's position, position as well. So it's an assignment of the IDA benefits to the new entity, which will be in place at least, for the term of the loan.
And part of that document, the new entity would be on the hook for all the representations and covenants under the original documents. So that's a pretty standard document to prepare all the time.
And we've discussed it at some length, with Nadine Ziegler of your office.
Two nations we got.
I know. Don't agree on the spelling of our name, but that's talk about.
Spelled differently.
It is. It's pronounced exactly the same. So, but that's really what we're looking for. And we appreciate, your courtesy and support. And, we're gonna make the project even better. If you haven't been there, we would be pleased. Certain members of the staff, I believe, I know, because I accompanied them, have been through some of the units and have seen what's been done, but there's nothing else like it in Albany. We promised that when we came in, there would be nothing else like it in Albany when we were done. And we'll be true to our word on that one.
David, close your ears.
No, it's beautiful. Well, we're pleased to compete. So do we have any other questions or anything else I can be helpful with?
The apartments are all completed
Yes.
and they're all, what's the occupancy right there?
Final COs, I think the occupancy it's above 90%.
Okay.
I know that. I don't know the exact number. I can probably come up with it.
You're not having any problem renting them?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's very sought after. The
Oh.
units are beautiful and we had, it was an unusual thing. I worked for several different developers and they're very, pragmatic about what goes in the units. We had conference calls once a week for 2 years about every detail of the tile, the finish of the tile, the shower heads to the showers. I mean, I know you think this is impossible, but my clients are very much attention to detail and they want it to be positive that it was exactly the way it should be with very nice appliances, not the contractor grade appliances. And we've been rewarded in the sense that tenants, they love the space. And even as important as the occupancy is the stability. They stay.
Any other questions for anybody else? All right. Then I think we would need a motion to approve this request,
Yes,
or to refer to the full board, I guess.
that's very.
Got you. Do I have a motion, positive recommendation?
So moved. Second.
Second, any other discussion? All those in favor? All right. See you next week.
Perfect. Very great. Thank you very, very much.
Next item on the agenda. 488 Broadway Arcade.
Yes, let me give a brief introduction to the request at hand and then suggest that we move into a board only session to discuss the finances of the corporation. So 488 Broadway, noting we have David Seraph here with us, the project applicant. I believe was one of the first residential conversions downtown. It's right at the foot of Maiden Lane and Broadway. That project was approved by the IDA for assistance, including a pilot back in 2014. As part of that process, and as was the case for a number of projects that were approved from 2019 forward that involved apartments and commercial space, mixed use, there was a provision built into the pilot agreement that it was for a greater up scenario that kicked in year 13, where the project beneficiary would be responsible for paying the greater of either the pilot payment as calculated per the documents or 11.5% of gross revenue. The request at hand today is to remove the 11.5% scenario. And with that, I'd like to discuss that a little bit further.
In executive session. Right. We have a motion for executive session.
So moved.
Lee, second, Tony, second. All in favor? Aye.
We're back.
We are back. It is 12:45. We exited executive session, no action was taken, we had discussion on the finances. Next item on the list, which was the 480 Broadway Arcade. I think, summary discussion with the request, which is to essentially eliminate the 11.5% of gross revenue for the project as a basis for its pilot and revert to what it has been paying, which is a percentage based on valuation. Some of the reasons for that, I think they've been elucidated in the publicly available information. In particular, the loss of rental revenue from the storefronts that were part of this project. I will report that the residential side of this project, as for most of the projects in the city, are still going quite well. People are still tenanting up, if that's a word, the apartments that have been built, particularly downtown over the past decade or so. So that is always good news. But the request we have at hand, I think, is for a recommendation to amend the pod documents to revert back to I shouldn't say revert back to maintain the pilot based on a percentage of its revenue, and to take out the gross revenue aspect. Any other questions or discussions or thoughts? I guess I would ask for motion for positive recommendation to remove the 11.5% gross revenue aspect of this pilot. So Lee, Tony, all right, all those in favor? All right. All right, thank you. So
Thank you.
next week.
Appreciate it. Thank
If you
you.
have any further questions, we'll let you know.
Okay, it's good luck.
All right. Agency updates.
Moving through, we would suggest an executive session to.
Back to executive session. All right, do I have a motion? So second,
For appointment of a particular corporation,
for appointment of, I'm sorry?
of a particular corporation, insurance corporation.
All right. We are back from executive session. No action was taken. We came out of executive session at 1:02. So after we discussed, how do I phrase it?
Potential appointment of a particular individual or corporation.
Yes, thank you. All right, so we are on to one last item, I think, is compliance update.
I'm gonna still
And
cover it
agency.
under agency. It's just sort of a general FYI. The New York State Economic Development Council has announced their 2026 Economic Development Conference. So that is scheduled for February 10th and 11th in Albany. So that's an FYI. Hold that on your calendars if you plan to attend. We've typically covered those registration costs for board members and staff. And then we do have an ask out from them to be like early bird sponsors, and sponsorship rates are holding steady. We're not going to ask for that commitment from this body today, but that'll we'll be coming back at that request. And I can't remember if I said it already, but sponsorship levels are holding steady in order to keep costs in check for the groups that typically sponsor. So
What's the date on it?
February 10th and 11th. They had also announced their annual meeting in Cooperstown, and I think that's May 20th or 22nd, whatever that 3 days right prior to Memorial Day weekend are. So that's live too.
All right,
So
anything else? I think our time together is coming to close. That's the motion to adjourn. Second, John, all those in favor?
Aye.